Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by my friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Here's the deal. First off, order of business. PJ's off today, so I'm pushing buttons. PJ needed a day off. He gets a day off. That's the way we run things here. So I'm pushing buttons. So I hope you can hear me. That's what I'll just start off with. But welcome into the show. Terrible, absolutely terrible way to play game two. For game two of this Phillies Braves series to play out. Hoskins should have had it. It's very simple. Hoskins should have had that ball. And Zach Wheeler, I appreciate you. I respect you. I don't believe you. When you say after the game that Hoskins, first off, I like the fact that he acknowledged Hoskins came over to him and said basically, my bad, I should have had that, whatever. I respect the fact that Zach Wheeler goes, no, I made the wrong pitch. And if you watch the replay, or if you're watching where JT Realmuto is setting up, yes, he got too much of the plate. Yeah, JT Realmuto wanted the pitch inside. The pitch basically went out over the middle of the plate. Olsen made contact, hit the ground to the first. Hoskins should have made that play. That's what should have happened. By Zach Wheeler's philosophy, the pitcher should strike everyone out. Like, that's not the case. That's not how baseball is played. As they said in Bull Durham, strikeouts are fascists, right? You don't strike everybody out. Hoskins should have made that play. Hoskins acknowledged after the game that he should have made that play. He did not make that play. One of the things Hoskins says was, I have made that play. I'll make that play again. I didn't make it on that particular hit. By the way, it was not an error. Excuse me. It was not ruled an error last night by the official scorer. It was ruled an RBI single for Olsen there, but it was an error. As far as I'm concerned, that was absolutely an error. It was a ground ball hit at Rhys Hoskins. He didn't move his feet enough. He said after the game he thought the ball was hit harder. It was not. So he mistimed his play, essentially. That is not a good time for the awful defensive first baseman that we have seen in Rhys Hoskins. He's not a Gold Glover out there. We all know that. But that's still, even by Rhys Hoskins standards, a play he should have made. It ended up being the ballgame. Now, before that, something else I'll say about Zach Wheeler that I don't believe you. Zach Wheeler said after he hit Acuna, did it take you out of your rhythm after he hit Acuna and there was like a 5-minute delay there and then you came back and you weren't throwing the same way? Not at all. Look, I find it tough sometimes to trust professional athletes, whether they're currently playing or they're retired. I don't think there's anything that they think they can't do. Like, I've asked football players about playing like a Thursday night after a Sunday night game and how that's like, even though it's one night, but if you're on the road, that's like one night that you're in your bed for as long as you'd like to be, and it kind of throws your whole week off. Yeah, I think the proof's pretty much in the pudding there when you don't show up on that Thursday night game and play to the best of your ability, unfortunately. The game that jumps to mind is the Thanksgiving game with Mark Sanchez's Philadelphia Eagles going into Dallas and romping the Cowboys, who just played that Sunday night in New York. But you ask an athlete, oh, no, it doesn't mean anything about it. I can play, no problem. So in Zach Wheeler's mind, he's not going to throw a teammate under the bus when it comes to Rhys Hoskins, and he's not going to acknowledge or make an excuse that a delay in the game after he hit Acuna had anything to do with throwing his pitches off or throwing his rhythm off or throwing his accuracy off, whatever you want to call it. But the proof is in the pudding. Zach Wheeler cruised through 5 innings of work with 50 pitches. 50 pitches through 5 innings of work. That is remarkably low. That is cruise control low. He ends up throwing 29 in the 6th inning alone. Yeah, I think that threw his rhythm off a little bit. 21 pitches after he hit Acuna. 21 pitches after he had that delay. So, yeah, I think Zach Wheeler had a little bit of an issue with the delay. And, yes, I think Rhys Hoskins should have had that ball at first base. I mean, really, there's no other way to look at it. And, look, I give credit for Wheeler. I give credit to Wheeler for not making any excuses. Rob Thompson even said after the game that if you ask Rhys Hoskins, that's a ball he said he should have had. You asked Rhys Hoskins about it, and he said what I told you, which is that he's made it before. He'll make it again. He didn't make it on that play, and he mistimed it, is essentially what he said afterwards. I give all the credit for Rhys Hoskins not making excuses. I give all the credit for Zach Wheeler not making excuses and trying to at least bail out a teammate there. But we all know what happened. They're being good teammates, and you want that. Good for them. They're being good teammates. Could you imagine if the quote after the game was Wheeler was like, "Yeah, Hoskins, yeah, what he said, I'm sorry." I'm like, "You're damn right, you're sorry. Apologize to me. Apologize to all of Philadelphia." What will get buried in all of this is that when Rhys Hoskins came out after the game and talked to the media and all that stuff, he seemed just flat out giddy to get back to Philadelphia and play. Bottom line is, it's a disappointing game. It's not the way they should have played. It's not the way the game should have went. It was an incredible pitcher's duel until that sixth inning. Wright was able to keep it going. Beyond that, Zach Wheeler just unfortunately wasn't able to do that. Phillies had some opportunities there. Second inning, Bryce Harper gets up with a leadoff double. They're not able to play them from that point. The Braves were incredible defensively throughout the ball game, really. Dansby Swanson had an incredible over-the-shoulder catch. I want to say the top of the sixth inning. Austin Riley had a great play on a Bryson Stott foul ball where he goes over the tarp that was out after the what was it, 3 hour, 4 hour delay, whatever the heck it was, 3 hour delay. So it was the Braves' night, and I hate doing it. But yeah, sometimes you got to chalk it up and say, all right, well, no one was beating the Braves last night. But when you see plays that should be made not being made, and you see things that are very much out of the ordinary, like Zach Wheeler coming inside on Ronald Acuna Jr. and hitting him, that causing a delay. And then from that point on, Zach Wheeler's not the same pitcher. Then you get the mistakes in the field. Then you get the swinging bunt by Riley. That scores another run. Then Travis d'Arnaud, the former Phillies prospect, comes up and hits an RBI single for you. Yes, it was not the Phillies' night last night. It was a great performance from Zach Wheeler for 6 innings. Should have been able to get out of that. By the way, all that was with 2 outs. By the way, he was cruising. All that was with 2 outs after he hit Acuna. There was with 2 outs, and then the wheels fell off the wagon, and things just started exploding. But look, they have the off day today. Great. They play Game 3 in Citizens Bank Park. Playoff baseball at Citizens Bank Park tomorrow in South Philly. So we get to be excited about that. But man, at what point do you all of a sudden, I don't know, improve as a first baseman, a fielding first baseman? Because we all know that Rhys Hoskins is not a good fielding first baseman. And we know at the plate, Rhys Hoskins has not been performing well at the plate either. This is a time for him to shine. This is a time for him to really make some kind of legacy here in Philadelphia. He was one of the first guys after the Utley and Howard era here and Rollins era in Philadelphia. He was one of the first guys that you looked at as, oh, maybe this is the next one. Maybe this is the guy that'll help carry the generational gap between the Utley, Howard, Rollins, Hamels era of the Philadelphia Phillies, and he'll start the new era of the Philadelphia Phillies. And he finally gets into the playoffs for the first time in his career. And that's going to be a lasting memory if the Phillies lose this series. And it'll still be in the back of our minds. I mean, we don't forget anything. I mean, just ask Jason Peters, which we'll get to in a second. But I don't know how he doesn't improve. His approach to the plate has been up and down really throughout his career. His power numbers have been, for the most part, consistent. Not consistent on the point of 18 home runs in like 11 days or anything crazy like that. But what he has done in the beginning of his career has led you to believe that, oh, there's something special in there. And we're waiting for that something special to have some consistency. Because he did get hot at different points in the season. He had it on fire, what was it, August? I believe it was just incredible. But at first base, he continues to have his problems. And last night, the problem occurred on the biggest stage of his career, a playoff game. I love the attitude that he wants the next opportunity, that he's not going to shy away from it. That's great. I need a better fielding first baseman, especially on a ball that he completely, according to him, mistimed when that ball was getting to him. He maybe had time to, I don't know, shuffle his feet and make that play. I like that people after the game just focused on that one thing. No one today is going to focus on the idea of Zach Wheeler missing a spot. Zach Wheeler is the only person last night and tonight, that's going to focus on him missing a spot. That stuff happens. You're not every single time. It's not going to be down the chute. But Zach Wheeler, what he said after the game, if I make a better pitch there, if I put it where JT's mitt was, then Olsen swings over the baseball. He'd already struck him out twice in the game to that point. I think the second time was on a curveball. They tried to get him out on a similar pitch that just didn't break inside enough. And it stayed out over the heart of the plate, and Olsen was able to put contact on it, the bat and the ball. No ball other than Darno. Darno had a legit single, but Darno's not coming to the plate with runners on in that spot if you don't, not just but if you don't make that play. If you make the play at first base, you're not seeing Darno come to the plate at that point. You're certainly not getting an opportunity for Austin Riley to get a swinging bunt RBI single, infield single, and you get out of that inning. Reese times it right, shuffles his feet, makes the play. Wheeler covers first. You're out of the inning. You go into the top of the seventh in a scoreless tie still. It was a tough one to watch. It was a tough one to hang through. And hopefully they just bounce back tomorrow. Aaron, like with a game like this, where you have Zach Wheeler pitching his guts out, but you get no run support. What do you do with what do you do if you're Aaron Nola? Aaron Nola's on the bump. Aaron Nola's on the bump. Let's make things happen with Aaron Nola. And it's that's great. He could go another 6 scoreless. He could go another 5 scoreless. He could go 7 scoreless, 8, whatever. He's had good numbers against the Braves. He can do all this great stuff. Whatever, everything great. It's all great. But if you don't score runs, it's not going to matter. Oh, it's all about pitching. You know what? You're right. And I saw one of the people from the Mets at the end of the season. By the way, the Mets are already home in case I haven't pointed that out yet. I saw somebody say something along the lines of, the Mets spent money on pitching, and look what they got. They had 100 wins. Yeah, it's great. I saw the Phillies spend a lot of money on pitching. Arguably, talent-wise, the best rotation ever. And it didn't work out, obviously, to the point of all those guys starting consecutively throughout the majority of the season. Guys got injured. Roy Oswalt got injured. So there was a lot of stuff you could go on throughout that 2011 season. But I saw the Phillies spend money on pitching, and they didn't get anywhere. I saw the Phillies have some great bats in the lineup with one great pitcher in Cole Hamels, and he wasn't even a great pitcher then. He just pitched great in the postseason. They mashed. They got run support for their pitchers. This team needs to mash. Kyle Schwarber needs to pick it up. Reese Hoskins needs to pick it up from the plate. Nick Castellanos, a little more of that game one love. Let's get a little bit more of that game one love, and see how that goes. But the runners in scoring position in game one was tremendous, and it set the tone. And I thought when you saw Bryce Harper get on base in that second inning with a leadoff double, I thought, scoring position, they're going to be money this series in scoring position. They were not money. They are not money in this series in scoring position. Not now, at least. So that's my take on what went down last night in Atlanta. They now come north for game 3. Cross their fingers that things will turn around. Once again, I am pushing buttons today, folks. So there's a lot going on here. You never know. During, I just might put up Alyssa's comment. Hey, Alyssa, what's up? I might just put up Alyssa's comment right there. Schwarber and Hoskins combined 1 for 34 in the playoffs. Cool. You just never know. I just might put up a thing. Dan Schwartz. Oh, Flyers season. Who's excited? They may just skip the hockey part and bring Gritty out to watch for 3 periods instead. I'm for that, Dan. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. So you never know what's going to happen. PJ, day off. I'm pushing buttons. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pushing buttons, man. All right, let's move on for the Phillies because it was tough. And it was one of those things where after the game last night, I watched the post-game stuff and I'm listening to everyone being excited about coming to Philly. It's great. But I'm laying in bed, and it's one of those things that I'm just thinking about. I put the phone down, stopped scrolling. And once I did that, I started thinking about the Phillies again. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a tough one to swallow. Because you get the win from Ranger Suarez. Or you get not the win, but you win the game that Ranger Suarez starts. You have your ace on the hill, making his playoff debut. And you can't get any support for him whatsoever. And then defensively, you also can't help him out by allowing that ball to go through. Again, not ruled an error, but you allow that miscue to happen. So not only could the Phillies not support Zach Wheeler with their bats, they couldn't support him with their glove. At least one particular guy in Rhys Hoskins couldn't support him with his glove last night. That's the thing that kept on rattling around in my brain. Then it was the swing and bunt. And then it was like the Braves, or the Braves all of a sudden turned into like the greatest defensive team in the history of humanity with the plays they're making in the field as well. Absolutely unbelievable. All right, let's talk some football here. There's a 5-0 team. There's a 4-0 team in Philly too. 4-0 the preseason, the 76ers, but we'll get to them. They start their season Tuesday. Flyers start the season tonight. I'm going through all the info yesterday with the Eagles, and I went back and the 3rd and 12 play that Jalen Hurts said he checked out of the play that was called and went to Dallas Goedert because there was pressure coming and he knew he could get rid of the ball quickly, and they ended up converting on the 3rd and 12. That's gotten a lot of attention. I went back and watched it again yesterday. I knew it was a great play by Hurts. The pre-snap stuff is sometimes difficult to decipher when you're watching the game live. But you see him make the call. You see him change things up. They get the ball to Dallas Goedert. There's definitely pressure going after Jalen Hurts there, and they make the play. Yesterday, Nick Sirianni addressed the media. Jalen Hurts addressed the media. And former Eagle, current Dallas Cowboy left guard Jason Peters addressed the media. One thing I want to get to when it comes to Jalen Hurts and his maturity, his maturation process, is what Nick Sirianni got into yesterday. I thought it was interesting. We've talked about the improvement. We've done that at great length. But Nick Sirianni, apparently he was reading something. So maybe these coaches are reading for bulletin board material, whatever it might be. Maybe it just came up in his maybe it came up when he was just scrolling. But I couldn't find who said this, but he said one of the members of the Arizona Cardinals came out and said that Jalen Hurts was a little predictable. I'll let Nick Sirianni explain it to you, but here's what the Eagles head coach had to say about how Jalen Hurts is not that predictable and how he, in fact, has improved upon his versatility. Take a listen to this.
I read something that a player on the Cardinals said last week. Every time he goes right, he throws it, and every time he goes left, he runs it. But he could throw it. Like, well, I don't think that's true. I actually see him growing there, that he's breaking out of the pocket and he's making plays with both his feet and his arm to the right or the left. And then I also see him doing, there was a guy, they brought one more than we could protect on the 3rd and 12 last week, right? The big play of the game, right? The one we talked so much about, and the one to Dallas on the last drive. They brought one more than we can block. They brought one right off the edge. Kenny Gainwell, free release right there. We couldn't block the free safety because they brought 6. We had 5. Boom. And he said, did he run there? No, he stood in there, threw a bullet to Dallas for one of the biggest conversions we've had this year, and the biggest play of that game. So the answer is, to me, is like he's got more variety to his game in that.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to put baby in the corner is what they're trying to do with Jalen Hurts, and saying, oh, he's a running quarterback. And one of the questions asked to Jalen Hurts yesterday was about how he's going to break the record by like 50 when it comes to Ruben Frank of NBC Sports Philly asked the question of Jalen Hurts, saying, you're going to break the record by like 50. You're on pace to break the record for rushing attempts by a quarterback in a season. And I liked how Jalen Hurts answered the question. He was like, if that's what it takes to win, okay. But what I found interesting from Nick Sirianni was he was talking about how Jalen Hurts isn't that guy that just looks to run. And I think that has been a big misnomer surrounding Jalen Hurts, especially last year. I didn't get the sense that Jalen Hurts was just looking to run every single play. I didn't get that vibe from Jalen Hurts. I thought there were plenty of times last year where he surveyed the field, he dropped back. If he was under pressure, he didn't just take off and run. He tried to extend the play first, which I think is what quarterbacks should do. And then if the play's not there, then you take off, see if you can get your team maybe 3-5 yards, get out of bounds, throw it away, slide, whatever you got to do. And I think he has done a great job of doing that. I think he's done a great job of doing that this year. I think this year there's been a lot more instances where teams are like, get him off his spot, get him running, put pressure on him, try to get him there, try to contain him, and they just haven't been able to do it. And what's worked in Jalen Hurts' favor in doing that, he's been able to pick up some big gains for the Eagles. Last week against the Cardinals, I know one of the drives they started, I can't remember if it was the 15 or the 17-play drive, where he just took off on the first play. And then I noticed Kyler Murray did the same thing on the late drive as well. Just the hell with it. Just give me 10 yards. Just give me a first down. Give me 10 yards down the field, closer to the end zone, or 10 yards closer to field goal range. It's kind of like a no-nonsense play type of deal. I haven't noticed that as much from Jalen Hurts this year. He's certainly had those big chunks of yards with the way he has taken off, but I don't think it's something that he's looking to do. I think a lot of times, like week 1, he is forced to do it. When you see him moved and pressured every single time he's dropping back, well, guess what? Sometimes it's not as easy to keep your eyes downfield in those situations. And why is that? Because you're trying to avoid taking the sack, or you're trying to avoid getting hit and maybe fumbling the football. So I think a lot of instances this year with Jalen Hurts, from what I have noticed, he is not looking to – he might be running more, but that's maybe a product. That is a product of the way he's being played. So what I found interesting from Nick Sirianni there is he ends that quote by saying his versatility has improved. And when I hear versatility, I mean, we all know what a great athlete the guy is, but it's a matter of becoming more of that quarterback. Not necessarily making him a prototypical pocket passer, but it's also not forcing him to be a prototypical running quarterback. The maturation, the versatility that Nick Sirianni is talking about right there is a product of what Jalen Hurts did in the offseason to this point. It's a product of him working through the ebbs and flows of being a first-year starter last year, first year as a starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then what he has worked on in the offseason and then brought to this season. The number one reason they're 5-0 is because of Jalen Hurts. That's the number one reason the Philadelphia Eagles are 5-0 is because of the way the quarterback has played. I don't know if any other quarterback comes in here and plays the like Jalen Hurts has, or plays a little bit below the level Jalen Hurts has set if you're winning these football games. He has played phenomenally well this season, and I have seen the improvement in him. And if teams are going to approach him like he's just looking to take off, what Nick Sirianni is saying is, okay, yeah, go ahead. You play him that way. The Lions tried to play him that way, and they got beat. You looked at a team like Washington tried to play that way. They got beat. Look at a team like Jacksonville, who was playing with a defensive assistant off the defensive staff of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Mike Caldwell. A guy whose boss in Todd Bowles said, oh, this guy can't read defenses. Jalen Hurts read that Jaguars defense pretty well. A couple of good players on that defense, too. Jalen Hurts has improved this year, and hearing the coach talk about his versatility lets me know it's a head coach talking about his player who's not just looking to run, he's not just looking to bomb it downfield, which was never his MO anyway, but it's a guy looking to take what the defense is giving him, and that's a dangerous player because it's not going out there with an agenda, so to speak. This is what I need to do. This is what I like to do. It's, oh, this is what you're giving me. I'm going to take it. That's from the positive side of things surrounding Jalen Hurts. On the negative side of Jalen Hurts, one of the things Nick Sirianni got into yesterday was the bubble screens. And I think it was Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer that asked the question to Nick Sirianni about how Jalen Hurts has improved with his pre-snap reads. And it led into the bubble screen conversation. And what I found out, and if you were watching the pregame show and the post-game show, most notably with Seth Joyner on Jacob Media, Seth Joyner got into the idea that these pre-snap reads, these, where are the hot routes and all this stuff, where are they at? Well, it turns out they're right in front of our nose. Apparently, the hot routes, apparently the checkdowns, sight adjustments were a result, or excuse me, the bubble screens were a result of the sight adjustments. So the way Nick Sirianni explained it was, yeah, we have to put Jalen in a spot to have success, obviously, but if he sees something that the defense is giving him, he's going to try to take it. What he thought the defense was giving him were throws on the outside. And that's where you saw Devontae Smith. That's where you saw Dallas Goedert. That's where maybe you saw Miles Sanders go into the flat for either a screen or a bubble screen and try to get the ball downfield that way. Devontae Smith broke off one for a good gain, but really Dallas Goedert has made a career out of it so far under Nick Sirianni here in Philadelphia. But right now, what the Eagles are looking at with Jalen Hurts is that he is trying to get away from that pressure by just popping the ball out to the outside. So when you talk about sight adjustments or check downs or checking the play at the line of scrimmage or something else, audible, whatever you want to call it, that's what Jalen Hurts is doing. So that might be more of a result as to why you're seeing those bubble screens. I could do without as many. Because one of the things that Joyner brought up, and I think it's a great point, was that, okay, if you're going to continue to run that play, where's the reverse of that once you have run that a couple of different times? Not the reverse, but where's something off of that you could run that maybe catch the defense off guard? Maybe instead of that throw out on the outside to Devontae Smith for the bubble screen where you have Quez Watkins or Zach Pascal blocking on the inside in the slot position, maybe you fake the bubble screen and Pascal or Quez Watkins bust it downfield and you got a deep play right there. Not a terrible idea. Difficult to pump fake, though, if the pressure's coming in your face already. Difficult. So that's what we'll look at with Jalen Hurts as he continues to hopefully improve as the season goes on. One last thing with Nick Sirianni. Of course, it's Dallas week, folks. Have you missed that? Cowboys play? Ooh, wait to hear this Jason Peters stuff. Nick Sirianni, it's one of those things that you don't think about until somebody mentions the number. But the Dallas Cowboys scored 96 points on the Eagles last year. 51 of those points came in the last game of the season when Dallas was still playing for playoff position, and the Eagles had already had their fate sealed for their playoff position. So Jalen Hurts didn't play. A bunch of other key starters didn't play. So they put up 51 points. But the first time around, they scored 45. So that's not good either. And that was, for me, a game where I was just like done with Nick Sirianni. I was so pissed off after that Dallas game. Prime time, they go into Dallas, and although the Eagles didn't have many possessions in the first half, and they were down quick, although that happened, the Eagles only handed the ball to a running back twice in the first half of that game against the Cowboys. Like, even, I believe what I said at the time, and I stand by, even Andy Reid looks at that and goes, I think we should run more. Like, that's ridiculous. Even Doug Peterson, I think we should maybe run the ball more. That is bonkers, crazy. That is insane. So I remember that first game, and I just went, money on the table. I'm out. Who is this Nick Sirianni guy? He's worse than his introductory press conference. And he, of course, has turned things around quite a bit. But Nick Sirianni was asked about the 96 points being allowed. In his first year as the Eagles head coach, he goes ahead and coaches a team that allows 96 points. Holy Lord, to the Dallas Cowboys. Nick Sirianni was asked about maybe turning things around this year against the Cowboys. Here's how Nick answered that question about last year's bout with the Dallas Cowboys.
Last year was last year, and we're in a new year. I think somebody asked me something about that, like because we got new players, right? Chauncey doesn't care they scored 96 last game, right? AJ doesn't care they scored 96 last time we played, last two games that we played them. We're here, and we can't control that, right? We can only control where we're at today. We're not looking behind us. We're not looking ahead of us. We're looking at what we have to do to go 1-0 today, so we can go 1-0 this weekend.
Oh, that's the only mindset you can have. All right, that's the only mindset. And I don't even think about that. The new guys that come in, Jordan Davis, for instance, coming into the middle of this line of scrimmage. T.J. Edwards was obviously there, but he was like an afterthought. That was still an Alex Singleton middle linebacker position. There's a lot of guys on this team. C.D. Deuce, as he mentioned, right there. There's a lot of guys that did, oh, you guys 50. Wow. Was it 96 in total? In 2 games? That's bad. Like, to those guys, it doesn't matter. But coming in, I think everybody, you don't have to be a Philadelphia Eagle. You don't have to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Hell, you don't even have to play in the NFC East at any point in your career. I think everyone realizes how much other teams hate the Cowboys. And I think people realize here in Philadelphia just how special it is to hate the Cowboys, how we consider ourselves to have this unique brand of hating the Cowboys. Like, oh, you think you hate the Cowboys? Oh, you just give me some time. And I'll tell you how much I hate the Cowboys. And Jason Peters gets that. We'll hear from him in just a second. But I would hope that some of the more veteran guys here, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, right? I would hope some of those guys, Fletcher Cox on the other side, Brandon Graham, I would hope some of those guys would help add to the motivation any other player would have that is new to the nest. I would hope that those guys relay the information of, just so you know, I know you've probably heard of this, but we really hate the Dallas Cowboys. We do not like them. And our fans, oh man, yeah, we're 5-0. If we go to 5-1 and that one is courtesy of the Dallas Cowboys, just know that they're going to be pissed. So let's not mess around with that. Let's not mess around with that even a little bit. Jalen Hurts yesterday. Like it or not, you're going to hear that you're 5-0. This whole week, you're going to hear about it. Jalen Hurts said after the game against the Cardinals, he doesn't want to hear it. Nobody wanted to talk about it when we were 2-5, so we don't talk about the record. As I laid out yesterday, and just to set it up again, if you're a player, the minute you start thinking of the record and the record being perfect is the minute you lose sight of what's in front of you. And what's in front of you right now is the Dallas Cowboys, Sunday night primetime in South Philly. The minute you start thinking of a game as a season, you're screwed. That is a horrible mindset to have. After the season, you can look back on a great record. Great. But in the moment, you can't be reading the press clippings. You can't be getting lost in the idea of being 5-0. Because even if you're looking at it and it's not making or breaking you, you're still shifting your focus from what it should be. And the only thing that should be in your line of sight, that should be in your crosshairs right now, is playing the Dallas Cowboys. So when Jalen Hurts says, I don't want to hear about 5-0, what he's saying is basically, I'm looking at it as one game at a time. The minute I start trying to play a whole season in 4 quarters, that's where we're screwed. So I like the idea. I like the mindset. You play every quarter like you're trying to win that quarter. You play every game like you're trying to win that game. You're going to win a lot of football games. A streak will be an undefeated season, a 10-0 start, a 5-0 start. That will all fall into place as a product of you making good decisions during the game, making heads-up plays, and God forbid I say it, going through a whole process. Going through the whole process of a game individually. And Jalen Hurts certainly was part of good teams at Alabama, certainly was part of a good team at Oklahoma. So yesterday, he was asked by Zach Berman of The Athletic about how has he handled the success in the past when they've gotten off to good starts, regardless of whatever level he has been at. And here's how Jalen Hurts answered that question.
Same way that I'm doing it right now. It's just attacking every day. You know, we can't get caught up in anything but the process, and that's what matters the most. Taking it day by day, trying to climb every day, and just winning the day. You know, that's the mentality I have, and I think that's the mentality we have as a team.
Was there somebody who told you, who helped you out take that mentality? Was there somebody in particular that gave you that day-by-day mentality?
I think, you know, just throughout my experiences, definitely the things that I've been through, I've had to endure, and just really being in the moment, being where my feet are. Obviously, being at the University of Alabama and Oklahoma, and all those different experiences, kind of, you know, building it all up. But everything is a journey, you know, and that's something I really believe, and you just have to take it day by day, truly control the things you can, you know, and put the work in daily.
Can't ask for more than that. I mean, I think the biggest thing there is daily. You got to do it all on a day-by-day basis, is what Jalen Hurts is saying right there. Nothing more grand, nothing less, nothing more, just day by day. So let's talk about this 4-1 Dallas Cowboys team. First off, I don't need to do math for you guys, but I just need to say this out loud. Eagles are 5-0. They're undefeated. Imagine if the first blemish on that record is courtesy of the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, yes, gross, horrible. But 5-0 is simply one win better than what the Giants have done so far this year and what the Cowboys have done so far this year. And what the Cowboys have done this year is go 4-1 and go 4-0 with Cooper Rush as their quarterback. Cooper Rush has 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his 4 starts since taking over for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, according to his teammates, he's got that power back. He's throwing that ball hard. But yeah, so I'm not ruling Dak Prescott out from starting this game. I don't think he does. If I'm betting money, I'm betting that he does not start. But I'm not signed, sealed, delivered, guaranteed that Cooper Rush is going to start this game. Mike McCarthy addressed the media yesterday. He says, yes, we're planning to start Cooper Rush at quarterback. Fine. That's not a Cooper Rush is the starter for Sunday. According to the teammates of Dak Prescott, he's spinning it. He's got the grip. He's got the power. He's slinging it, right? That whole thing. I want Dak Prescott to play in this game. And it's not because I think he's worse than Cooper Rush. It's not that Cooper Rush should be the starting quarterback. It's not like that. I believe there's some quarterback controversy going on in Dallas. I want any quarterback that I feel is rushing back from a thumb injury or hand injury in general to the throwing hand. I want them rushing back because I don't think they're ready to play. And I think they got fumbles and interceptions and horrible plays for our defense, for your defensive choosing. For me, it's Philadelphia Eagles. I want that guy rushing back to try to play. Who would I rather face, Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott on a normal day? I'd rather face Cooper Rush. But on this particular Sunday, if Dak is already out there throwing the football around and his teammates are like, oh, Dak, oh, man, he's really slinging it. The power's back. Oh, yeah, start campaigning, please. Start forcing the issue. Because if you do that, when you have a head coach like Mike McCarthy, we even said we got to follow the medicals, we got to follow the doctors, and what they tell us, we're going to do. All right? When you got a head coach talking like that, who just wants to go by the doctors, and then you could kind of be like, yeah, but Dak is ready, maybe. You're going to have to push to get back onto the field. And if Dak is doing that, oh, man. Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, come get it, boys. Come get it. This is probably the only week where I'd ever say that I want to face Dak Prescott over Cooper Rush. And the only reason is because I think a 80%, maybe a 75% Dak Prescott with a thumb injury there, oh, he'd increase your likelihood of winning over Cooper Rush. Plus the other thing, and I always think about this in every sport, when you are at your best, other players don't have it in the mindset that they have to make the play, that somebody else will save us. When you have a backup quarterback in there, we saw this in Philadelphia with A.J. Feely all those years ago. Defense played amazing football down the stretch. If you remember, 0-2, excuse me, I want to say, McNabb goes out with a broken ankle. By the way, beats the Arizona Cardinals in Veterans Stadium with like a broken ankle. He was something incredible, like 20 for 24 with 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, something insane for 224 yards, something like that. I think those numbers burn in my brain. They're probably off. But anyway, excuse me. So then Donovan goes out. Corey Detmer comes in, throws like 2 touchdowns in the first half against the San Francisco 49ers. AJ Feely, it breaks his arm. AJ Feely comes in. Remember that? Corey Detmer like snapped his arm in half. Oh, kids. It was a rough one. And then AJ Feely comes in and they do a phenomenal job for the rest of the season. They lock up another trip to basically home field advantage, NFC East championship or NFC championship game. Great. But during that time, knowing that one unit is so far down, another unit will rise up, or other players of the offensive unit will rise up to try to make up for the fact that you don't have your number one quarterback in there. And that's what I think the Dallas Cowboys have done. They're already great defense, has risen to the occasion. Micah Parsons gets a groin injury, comes back, gets a sack fumble in the game. That defense has played incredible this season. Absolutely incredible this season. And I think a big part of that is not just because they are talented, but I also think it's because they know that they don't have a lot of room for error. They're not going to be putting up points left and right with Cooper Rush as their quarterback. Although Cooper Rush, with no interceptions, has got a 95 passer rating this season. That's what they're bringing to the table. And I do believe that the hero gene a lot of times gets lost in guys like Carson Wentz that are trying to do too much. But I also think that hero gene kicks in when the hero isn't there. Well, Dak's not here. Everyone's got to be on point. We have no room for error here. So everyone tighten up just a little bit. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys have done with Cooper Rush as their quarterback. And they got 2 running backs that are stepping up for him in Ezekiel Elliott. And now, actually, more so, Tony Pollard, who is always a good pickup on fantasy, by the way. I did do it this year, full disclosure. But that's what they're bringing to the table right now with the Dallas Cowboys. And if you're going to put Dak out there, Rush his ass back from a thumb injury? Oh, yes, please. Yes, please, and thank you. All right, before I get to Jason Peters, let me tell you this. Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Folks, when it comes to buying jewelry, trust the man. Trust the man in Philadelphia that has been in the love business for over 40 years. He offers you the perfect price. What's the perfect price? Well, other jewelers like to mark things way up, just to mark it down a couple of bucks, just to make it feel like you want something. Well, Steven Singer, you don't have to worry about negotiating. The price is already knocked down. When you talk to other people, oh, you paid that much? Oh, I paid this much. Oh, how did I lose that? Well, you don't got to worry about that because there's no pressure like that at Steven Singer. A real jewelry expert is standing by at the other corner of 8th and Walnut to show you all the beautiful, dazzling diamond inventory and make you feel like a family member. You don't make somebody feel like family when you're like, I can go 500 less. Like, no, it's not working out. Steven Singer Jewelers online at IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want to get this before the chat check because I want to hear your beautiful people's honest opinion of this. So I'm going to read this to you first and foremost. I looked for this audio yesterday, and I couldn't find it. John Clark is the one I saw this out from first, and I'll just read it to you here. This is from Jason Peters. It's a quote. I just know the Philly fans are bleeping idiots. Okay? Effing idiots. When it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, any team, they start throwing stuff at teams. I mean, they nasty. He laughs. They pride themselves on being nasty and vulgar. All right? That's what Jason Peters said, and John Clark puts out here endearingly when it comes to Eagles fans. So, you know what? I did a little reconnaissance. I did a little detective work. I went behind enemy lines, and you know what I did? I went into my search bar, and you know what I did? I typed in DallasCowboys.com. Yes, I know. Now that's in my history. Now it's a cookie. Now things are going to come up like, do you want to buy something from the pro shop or the Dallas Cowboys? No! I do not want to. But here is 90 seconds, not even 90 seconds. There's Jason Peters when he was asked many times about what this game means to him and playing in front of Philadelphia Eagles fans. Jason Peters to DallasCowboys.com.
It's just another game for me. Get to go back to what I laid the foundation at and got my championship, but it's a division game. It's going to be a feisty game, and like I said, it's just another game for me.
You look back at your career, which is obviously still very much going, but what did that place mean to you, Philadelphia?
I mean a lot. I got my first Super Bowl there, and like I said, I laid a lot of bricks there. So, Philly, that's my city, and just to go back, it'll be great to beat them.
Another game for you, but is Cowboy Week ever another game for Philly fans?
Oh no, they're gonna be feisty. They're gonna be throwing stuff, talking all kind of noise, but we'll be ready. Just keep your blinders on. Put the earplugs in because the crowd gonna be in it. They're gonna be blurting out all kind of crazy stuff at you. Might even be throwing stuff. So just gotta trust your preparation during the week and keep your blinders, keep your head down, and just go play ball.
You got a lot of goodwill in that city, but do you know what to expect personally walking back there now as a visitor opponent?
Not really. Them fans, they so wild. They might go to throwing stuff at me. So I'm not expecting nothing worse than them throwing stuff at me.
Oh, that's great. First off, no one's throwing anything at Jason Peters. Nobody's throwing anything at Jason Peters. I think everything he said there, it was a little tongue-in-cheek with a side of serious, okay? But I will say this, and this is something that I don't know if I've told this story on this show before. I know I've told it into a microphone since I've been in the business. I know I've mentioned it. But first off, let me just get this out of the way. No one's throwing anything at Jason Peters. And Jason Peters warning people, warning teammates, especially maybe new guys, about coming to play in Philadelphia is a wise thing to do as a veteran. But this is what I think about whenever I think about people or whenever it gets brought up about people coming into Philadelphia, whether that's a former player coming back to Philadelphia or people that are just talking about playing in Philly for the first time, maybe. Sean Payton, former longtime Saints Super Bowl winning coach, used to be an offensive coach here in Philadelphia. He knows the Philadelphia fan base well. If you've ever seen it, his brother sells mattresses at the Jersey Shore. All right, and Joe Flacco bought one from his brother. So he knows the area well. Sean Payton, when he got the gig with the Saints and they came to Philadelphia, I'll never forget this. I was in New Orleans doing a Sunday night game, and I went out after the game. New Orleans is a great city to party in. And I made some friends, and I'm sitting there, and I would have looked at the guy and been like, that guy looks like a football player. But I don't know Zach Strief from Adam. He's I think he was a right tackle for the Saints, for Drew Brees, for a number of years, long time stalwart on that offensive line for them. And the ladies I was sitting with at the table, they know the guys. Me and one of my buddies were Sunday Night Football, and these girls go, "Oh, Zach, come over here." And they're like, "Do you know Zach Strief?" And I'm like, "I don't. I assume he plays for the Saints." They're like, yeah, great guy. I'm like, "Do you know him?" We had drinks with him once. Great guy. So basically this fan interaction happened because they met one time. He recognized it, came and sat down. And he sits down, and couldn't have been a nicer guy. And I'll never forget this. And he goes, "And you can use this," because he asked me what I was doing in town. I said I was working for Sunday Night Football. And he goes, "Well, you can use, where are you from?" Philadelphia. And he goes, "Oh, I got to tell you this story." And he tells me this story. He goes, my first trip to Philadelphia, to play in Philadelphia, everyone's on the bus coming from the team hotel, and everyone had their headphones on, and everyone's reading or watching a movie or whatever, listening to music. And he goes, we got about 10 minutes from the stadium, and Sean Payton gets over the PA system of the bus, and he's waving at everyone to get their attention. And he's signaling for everyone to take their headphones off. Everyone takes their headphones off. And he gets on the PA system for the bus. And he goes, "We're approaching Lincoln Financial Field. We're approaching the stadium, whatever. Everyone, keep your headphones off. No movies. Just watch. I want you guys to watch what we're up against." And everyone's like, "What?" So they get closer to the stadium, and then they just see all the tailgaters. They turn down Darien Street to try to go into the players' entrance, and it's just all these people throwing eggs, throwing things at the bus, screaming and yelling how much the New Orleans Saints suck, how terrible they are, how they're going to kick their ass, and the whole thing. And Zach Strief says you remember sitting there, and he goes, "Holy God." This is what I thought we were just playing a football team. I didn't think we were playing a whole city. And that was the point he was making to me. And that's when he thinks of Philadelphia, that's what he thinks of. He thinks of Sean Payton giving everyone of the New Orleans Saints fair warning of what they're up against. That's pretty damn impressive. So, yeah, you're up against a lot. And Jason Peters knows that. He played here for a number of years, solidified a Hall of Fame career here in Philadelphia. Was on a roster that won a Super Bowl. Big part of that team when they were on their run. And was it the Washington game he went down? Big part of that run, of course. Big part of that team. Big part of the legacy of this offensive line. You just asked Lane Johnson. You asked Jason Kelsey. But he knows what it's like to play in Philadelphia. And you best believe he's warning his teammates. But let me just say this. If anyone takes that BS of throwing things at Jason Peters and runs with it, national media, that ain't happening. And if it does, it's because we're not that accurate. We're aiming for somebody else. That's Jason Peters. I'm playing, coming back to Philadelphia right there. Yeah, that's what I got for you. Now, before we get into the chat check, let me tell you guys about Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. You can get 20% off at manscaped.com. That's 20% off at manscaped.com and free shipping when you use promo code FARZI. They have their new one-stop shop, their ultimate bundle. It's incredible when you talk about the Platinum Package 4.0. It includes a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, ear and Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So that's what you got to do. Enjoy Manscaped. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. If you're looking to use CBD, if you're looking to try CBD, look no further than Freestone Farm CBD. 20% off with promo code FARZI at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. It has insane tropical tasting Bayox that clocks into the chart, topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. Check out freestonefarmcbd.com for more information and use promo code FARZI for 20% off. You've heard me talking about the Mojo app. It's a good time, especially for you guys in New Jersey. You can download the app to your phone right now. Go to mojo.com for more information on it. It's awesome. Over 300 skilled players in the NFL between running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. Each player has a share price. You guys have been doing this a long time in fantasy football. Well, I think no one's going to look at this guy, so I'll get him right now off the scrap heap when nobody wants him. Well, now you can make money off that player directly. When a share price is attached to a player, like maybe an underrated rookie you think is about to break out of the season, see what their share price is at now. Buy low, sell high. Make some money for yourself with Mojo. Athletes or stocks, rising and falling. Check it all out at mojo.com. That's mojo.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, and enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Oh, all right. Now it's time for the chat check. Mark's pushing buttons, folks. Boom! Jim Grassmeter, what's up, fella? How are you? Cowboys fans were throwing things at Dak when they lost to the Niners in the playoffs. You are correct, sir. Were they also just throwing things at Dak when they lost to the Buccaneers in week 1? And Dak Prescott had a broken thumb? Cowboys fans, man. Cowboys fans. People actually carry around and throw eggs. Not now with these prices. I'd be pelting you with so many eggs right now if it wasn't for inflation. Thank you, Sean Gillespie. Dan Schwartz. Joe Flacco. I have to say Joe Flacco like my Baltimore relatives. Joe Flacco buying a mattress off Sean Payton's brother down the shore is probably the most random thing I've ever heard in a while. I'll tell you how random it is. My first pregame show at Ocean Casino this year, I'm down there and Gunner's sitting with me and we're getting ready to start the show. And I'm like, what the hell is Sean Payton doing here? And I look and it's not Sean Payton, but it looks a hell of a lot like Sean Payton. And then I remember Sean Payton's brother lives down the Jersey Shore, the South Jersey Shore, not like Seaside Heights or Seaside, whatever, but like us. I don't know if it's Margate. I don't know where the hell it is. But I was like, is my man coming in and doing a little gambling today? I don't know if it was him. All I know is there's a guy that looked a lot like Sean Payton that was not Sean Payton at Ocean Casino. And I said to Gunner, I was like, is that Sean Payton? He goes, damn, it looks like Sean Payton. That's not Sean Payton. I go, I know, right? His brother lives down here, right? He goes, yeah, he sells mattresses. I go, I know. Anyway. Random Anton. What a disgusting act. The Cowboys fans. Yes, I agree. Alyssa. First off, Alyssa, congratulations on the Sixers starting in, Tuesday. Today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days, whatever. Yeah, championship here, but I hate the fan base. April. Good morning, April. Rest in peace to your search history. I know. I'm gonna get like 20% off Cowboys Pro Shop. Buy a hoodie this fall. No thanks. Random Anton. I hate Steven Singer. I effing hate Steven Singer. Yeah, that's his goal. Oh, Sean, you like that? Dead on McCarthy impression? Add that to your repertoire. We're gonna listen to the doctors. He's an easy guy to do. Let me start at this top here. Let me see what I got here. Kevin! Good morning, Farzi. Happy Thursday, everybody. Everybody, happy Thursday. That's very nice. Oh, by the way, I'll be out in Center City somewhere, lurking. Doing a Farzi in the field today for the good people at Mojo. April says good morning. Alyssa says good morning. Sean says morning all. Jack Ewing! Good morning, Jack. Dan Schwartz. Acuna was so hurt for 10 minutes. I thought that got his hand. Anybody else think that got his hand? And what is it with the Braves? Who was it in game 1? He took a ball inside and went, wah! Wah! See it? Who was it? Wah! In game 1, and I was like, okay, pal. Cool your jets. But yeah, Acuna took that hit off his forearm, elbow, whatever. Stayed in the game, went down the first baseline. And yeah. Oh, brutal play by Zach Hoying. Brutal play by Reese. I concur. And yeah, it was like a 5-10 minute delay, whatever the hell it was. And Zach Wheeler, I'll give the numbers to you again. He had thrown 50 pitches through 5 innings. That's really good. That's very efficient. And then threw 29 pitches in the 6th inning. He threw 21 pitches. I believe Acuna getting hit was the 21st. No, Acuna getting hit was the 20th pitch. Then he threw 9 more pitches the rest of the inning, allowing 3 runs. Boop. Dan, yeah, definitely some dramatics. Yeah, I think so. Alyssa, weird how Acuna was suddenly then fine. He was fine. Dan Schwartz and Alyssa and April all agreeing. April, it was so magical. Dan Schwartz, Schwarber and Hoskins are combined 1 for $1 billion with 1,000 strikeouts in the playoffs. Not far off. Not far off. Yeah, it's bad. Okay, April, yeah. So glad everyone else thought it was BS too. I love this. This is great. I mean, I thought he could be milking it a little bit. Oh, does he have feeling in his hand? Yeah, he's going to play the rest of the game. So glad everyone thought it. And I love that, like, Hoskins really messed up, and we're like, but Acuna! I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. There were definitely dramatics attached to it. I agree. So glad everyone else thought it was BS too. Like, yeah, for sure, the guy was hurt, but he was out there trying to win an Oscar. Oh, that's great. So he's not just having fielding issues, he's striking out all around. Bryce Harper, or excuse me, Rhys Hoskins, yes. Here's an interesting question that they brought up on postgame last night. Yes, I punished myself further by watching postgame. Not that those guys do a terrible job. Those guys do a great job. You guys know Michael Barkan's awesome, and Ricky and Ben and Ruben. But it's just in terms of subjecting myself to more Phillies thoughts was my own downfall last night. But I'm watching post game, and they bring up the question of, do you move Kyle Schwarber down in the lineup? Do you move him out of the leadoff spot? And I'm thinking to myself, I would do it. I would absolutely do it. And Ben Davis, you're not gonna. It's not happening. It's one of those things that's just like, hey, we ride the horse that brought you, that type of thing. And Kyle Schwarber had a couple of slumps throughout the season, mostly under Joe Girardi, but found his way out of it. So they're going to let him work his way out of it. They're not going to put him in a position then to they're not going to put him in a position to really struggle, or at least make it look like they're in quicksand by now making adjustments because he's been slumping. They're not going to do it, but I would do it because Ben Davis brought up the great point, and it's true, and this is why I would do it too. It's because Bryce Harper is getting on base, and you're not driving him in. If Bryce Harper is getting on base and no one's driving him in, then that's an issue, especially if you're going to have 0-0 ball games going into the 6th inning and your pitcher's pitching phenomenally well. Like, do you want to waste another? Like, if Aaron Nola comes out, is giving you 7 scoreless, it's a scoreless tie, that's going to be bad. I think a way you could protect against that is having somebody on base in front of Bryce Harper. Just a suggestion. We have to remember we're playing with house money, so anyone at the game Friday, lift them up. No booze. I remember these are world champs we're playing. That said, I think we win. Nola dealing breaks out. Mike, I hope you're right. Mike Worker, drop it in the comments right there. Sean Gillespie, Flyers. It's Red October and football season. What is gritty anyway? Oh, jeez. Dan, I'm afraid to click on this. Pat Burrell has as many hits as Schwarber this postseason. It goes to show you that no one can keep Pat the Bat down. Love that animal. He's a machine. Mihai. What's up, Mihai Sanchez? Mark, everyone, good morning. Sometimes I wish Rhys Hoskins could be DFA'd. Pat Burrell 2.0. Let's see what else we got here. Random Anton, it's encouraging because once Jalen Hurts starts to audible into better situations, he's going to be a major problem for defenses. See, I think he's already close to that, to be honest with you. And I think that's what Nick Sirianni was talking about when he was talking about how much he's maturing as a quarterback. Jim Grassbeater, Hoskins allowed those 3 runs. How does that miss? Yeah, what sucks is that gets charged to the postseason ERA of Zach Wheeler because it was not an error. Ooh, Mihai, in left field, Guthrie or Maton? Or go for Trey Turner in free agency. I think they are going to go for Trey Turner in free agency, to be honest with you. Mihai, when I heard Bryce Harper go into the booth and talk about how Trey Turner is his favorite player, I'm like, guess who's going to be a Philly next year? Alyssa, I respect Ricky. I lost respect for Ricky when he blocked me on Twitter for making fun of dad jeans. Richard. Schwarber has the physical built for first base. Ryan Howard 2.0. Okay. There we go. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Big fans. Love yous. We get Carson Wentz tonight. Oh, we can talk about that in Morning Rush. Speaking of Morning Rush, let's move it. Oh, that was our social media check-in. Or social media check-in. Jeez, I haven't called it that since the first week of the Farzy Show. That right there was our chat check. Let's get into the Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Aaron Nola on the bump for the Phillies tomorrow. 4:37 start time. Game will be on Fox Sports 1. Braves have yet to announce their starting pitcher for that game. Aaron Nola, ladies and gentlemen, this season has had some phenomenal games against the Atlanta Braves. He's also had some bad games against the Atlanta Braves. But overall, 3.67 ERA, 5 starts, 3-2 in all those starts. He's allowed 14 earned runs in those 5 starts. If you remember, he wasn't too far away from a no-hit bid against the Atlanta Braves earlier in the season, if you remember that outing that he had. Most recently, Nola faced the Braves in 2 games in September, the same 2 series that Ranger Suarez put up some great numbers against the Braves. His September 23rd start, 6 innings, no earned runs. 6 days earlier, 7 innings, 4 runs, 7 hits. Had 8 strikeouts in that game. Then if you go back, I know I can find this one. What month was? Oh, that was okay. It was back in May. It was right before I think they fired Joe Girardi. Yeah. Aaron Nola came out in a 4-1 victory, 8 1/3, 1 run. 8 1/3 inning against the Braves. All right, let's hope we have more of that magic tomorrow for Aaron Nola. Tonight, Thursday night football. What? I mentioned it yesterday during the Morning Rush. Ron Rivera saying, "Hey, why are all these other teams 4-1 and we're undefeated and you're not?" Quarterback. Ron apparently apologized to Carson Wentz about that. I didn't mean it. I swear. That was not my impression of. That was my impression of a sheepish apology. It was not my impression of Ron Rivera. But tonight on Prime Video, 8:15 start time, the Washington Commanders at 1-4 take on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. So that's your Thursday night football game right there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim will be back with us tomorrow, so I won't be able to put up fine things like April saying "Morning, fam." But Jim will be back with us tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the day, everybody. Have a wonderful Thursday. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Talk all things Eagles, Cowboys for tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. See you.